And we are live. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Premier Sim Gaming League's YouTube channel. And we are live for Formula 5 action from the PlayStation division. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm so very excited to bring you this race today. It is the penultimate round of Season 27 for PSGL's PlayStation division, and we're just getting set and ready for live qualifying action from the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi for the Formula 5 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It is title showdown time. Your winner from the previous race is Dirtamo, which has now created a very exciting three-way title fight. It is VER Devin 3043 versus VER Mike K versus Dirtamo for the championship. And I am absolutely stoked to see what these drivers have in store today. Again, my name is Iserlix. I've been your commentator for all season long, and I'm going to be your commentator here tonight as I want to take you through all the action as we're just getting ready to get into the lobby. I'm assuming we're just getting in some possible reserves, and then we will get underway. I am so excited. Let's go over the driver standings at the moment. It is VER _ Devin 3043 in the lead in the championship, and the Haas car by 80 points. And then it is his rival for most of this championship, VER Mike K, with 74 points. But Dirtamo has now slid back into the fold. A early contender for the championship who fell off a little bit in the middle of the season is now right back up there with 72 points in the Red Bull team. So it is a very exciting battle for sure as we get underway soon. As we're just getting ready for the lobby to start underway. There are a few different ways that this championship can end today. Let's go over all of them. Of course, Devin versus Mike versus Dirtamo. Devin could be champion tonight in Abu Dhabi if he gets the first and fastest lap, and Mike finishes 5th or lower, and Dirtamo 4th or lower. If he finishes in first, Mike finishes in 5th or lower, or Dirtamo 4th or lower. Second with the fastest lap, Mike finishes 8th or lower, and Dirtamo finishes 8th or lower. If he finishes in second with no fastest lap, it's 9th or lower, and 9th or lower for Dirtamo. And for the third fastest lap, with fastest lap, it would have to be 10th and 10th. And if he just finishes third, then both drivers would have to score no points. If Devin finishes 4th or lower, then the title fight will move on to Japan. So very exciting for sure. And we'll see if the drivers can in fact do so. We're just getting ready for the start of the lobby. We are seemingly having a bit of a delay. I'm going to try to bring you an update on that. And we will start in 2 minutes time at maximum. That is the maximum delay of 2 minutes. We're just waiting for one driver to return back into the lobby, and then we will be ready to go. And let's go over the Constructors Championship while we have the time to go over that, because it is equally as exciting. In the Constructors standings, Haas, which is now taken by Quicksilver and Devin, have 109 points versus Renault with 96 points. The gap between the championship right there, 13 points. For the Constructors Championship to end, Haas would have to outscore Renault by 18 points, then they will be champions. If not, the title fight will also move on to the final round at Suzuka in Japan. So we're just 1 minute until the official start time for qualifying, and we will get underway shortly with the qualifying action. The Yas Marina circuit offers a lot of difficult challenges, and drivers all week long have been complaining about this track. They're just not comfortable at the moment. Are we going to see a shuffling of the grid? Let's wait and see. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. As here we go, the drivers are getting ready, and it's about 30 seconds until sessions start, until the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix qualifying session is underway. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, my name is Iris Harlix. I'm going to take you through all of the action here this weekend, and we are going to see if we do in fact crown a champion here today. It is all up on to Devin to win it for himself, and he is also the only person it's all to lose in this case. And here we go, getting into short qualifying under the floodlights of Yas Marina. Again, a circuit which causes many problems for drivers. It is a very awkward circuit, filled with very flowing corners and filled with very non-stop-and-go corners. Drivers tend to find a lot of this to be RNG, to say the least. And we'll see if the RNG plays out for everybody perfectly today, or are we going to see some last-minute drama in this championship like we saw in the previous round. If you did not catch the Mexican Grand Prix, then I would absolutely recommend you go watch that back, because it was an absolute thriller in Formula 5, and we saw some exciting racing, and we saw a winner in Dirtamo after the steward's decision after the race of a possible jump start. He is now the winner officially in Mexico, and that has created this three-way title fight that nobody was expecting to see towards the end of it here. We thought we were still going to have a two-way fight, but nonetheless, we have a three-way fight, and now all of the cars are ready and getting set to get back onto the track again and set some lap times for us. Let's get started. And there are all of our drivers. We have Matt Tebos, Lewis, Blevs, and Dirtamo right there in the Red Bull outfit. TFA Jesper there, Ollie Flavel. There is Devin, Alpha AZT LRB 05, QVR Cortez, VER Juez, Tim Wentic, Mark C, VER Mike K, VER Quicksilver, very important for the Haas team to score well here, and MMA Slash as well, who has done such a fantastic job in making sure that the entire Formula 5 season has gone underway very smoothly. We do thank Dirtamo, of course, as he goes out on track in the Renault DP World Formula 1 car from the year of 2020, the Renault Challenger, which will now be Alpine towards the 2021 season. Of course, we have to thank people like MMA Slash, who go unnoticed sometimes in the shadows, but always a person who has made sure that Formula 5 gets off without a hitch. So thank you so much for being the admin for this Formula 5 season and continuing to do so throughout the season. As, let's get up all of the data here. There's your lap data. There is the track map. I'll bring up the telemetry during the race. Let's hide the UI, which I tend not to do, and some people get annoyed by it. I'm not sure why. It's not that big a deal. I hope not. But nonetheless, let's see who is furthest ahead right now. I believe it is Quicksilver, as he's going through one of those corners that people tend to find be a little bit random. Let's ride on board of the Haas team right here with Quicksilver as he's coming towards the end of the lap through the third sector. And a very difficult corner to navigate here, this little right-left, and then another almost 90-degree left turn. And then coming into a right, and now we come to the final turn, which is the pit entry right there as well. Coming around the final turn, and let's see how Quicksilver gets around here in the Haas Ferrari-powered car as he comes in the turn one, and a very tricky braking zone as well. And now coming up through the first sector here, a very, very fun part of the track, of course, but it seems to all go downhill once we enter this very slow chicane. It seems to almost stop everything, but it is, of course, going to be a fastest first sector, as he is the first man to finish off the first sector. Quicksilver coming out of the hairpin, and now a very typical Toka type section, a very nice long DRS straight. The DRS flap opens, opening the rear end flap of the rear wing, increasing the top end speed as he brakes around the 100-meter board, coming into the this again another uphill chicane, a very famous part, it seems, of these Abu Dhabi tracks. We're going to come up to another one in just a moment's time as Sector 2 is about to end, and Quicksilver will go purple in the first sector, of course, for the time being. We'll see if if the time he is setting now can in fact be the time that puts him on pole position. Coming out of the second uphill chicane, it seems now, through the third sector, through these winding right-hand turns before braking hard, clipping the curb a little bit on the entry point to actually slow down the car before he's coming into the final couple of corners here of the Yas Marina circuit. Keeping it out of the wall right there, using as much of the track as possible, killing a styrofoam block right there. As he comes through the final turn, Quicksilver, the time is going to be a 1:33.1, and that is on the slower end, as MMA Slash is going to set a 1:32.7 and quickly eliminate that time from the top of the timing sheets right there. As let's ride on board of Matt Tebos, who has just had the most horrible luck, it feels like, in the later half of the season. Some really awesome performances put right into the mud, as QBR Cortez has gone second fastest with a 1:32.9, which is quickly beaten by Matt Tebos, who has gone fastest with a 1:32.734. So top of the timing sheets for a moment before it's beaten by Jesper, and the times are just starting to fly. Let's ride on board with Devin, leader in the championship. Let's see how he gets along here. Is there anybody further ahead? Mike K is about to come across the line, the first of the big championship men, and he goes second fastest. Good lap time from the Mercedes driver. Going back on board with VER Devin, coming through out of the uphill chicane in Sector 3 before coming now into the sweeping right turns, keeping it as close to the apex as possible, braking hard, not using nearly as much curb, actually cutting a little bit more of the corner than we saw Quicksilver do, his Haas compatriot, as he's coming through the end of Sector 3. And we will see if he can put himself at the top of the timing sheets right now. Oh, it's an invalidation near the end there. He used a little bit too much of the exit there, and that's a red lap. That's an invalid lap for him. And that is not how Devin would like to start qualifying. Dertamo still sitting in the pit lane, waiting for the track maybe to clear up a little bit. Meanwhile, LRB is the only driver at the moment, we believe at least, on a hot lap. And we'll see if he can put together a good one. He's got a few drivers ahead of him. In fact, there is a Racing Point ahead of him, I believe. That is Jules. Now, he has to be careful not to pick up any slipstream from his teammate, as that is against PSGL rules. You cannot give your teammate slipstream, but I think they're far away enough where that wouldn't constitute a possible investigation from the stewards. But nonetheless, there is Lewis behind him, I believe, is on an outlap. That is, in fact, Lewis. LRB coming through Sector 3 now. There's his teammate a little further ahead, and he's got to be careful not to catch up to him too much. Again, we do not want to come into a situation of catching any slipstream. He's got to be careful here, and he might, in fact, have to back off a little bit. I think that is exactly what he was doing. He did not want to catch slipstream from his teammate. LRB being very smart right there, that could have possibly awarded him a penalty if he wasn't too careful, and the stewards may have interpreted such as slipstream. Lewis has now started his lap. Lewis, definitely a driver who we did not expect to be where he is in the championship. If we look at the standings, once again, for the driver standings, and we see Lewis is sitting there in 6th in the championship. Not as high as I think Lewis expected, and I think many expected Lewis to be a front runner, if not the championship front runner in F5, but it's just been a very unlucky season, it feels like. And he just hasn't had it all together all the time this season. Hopefully, next season, in Season 28, depending where he goes, a lot of expect him to go up to F4, where his pace may be better suited, at least some believe. Then maybe he can snatch a championship in that particular occasion. But at the moment, Lewis sits 6th in the championship, just 4 points behind Alpha AZT. So he definitely has a little bit of fight on his hands, at least for 4th in the championship. Best of the rest, some would say, as MMA Slash has set, so we're getting the fastest lap glitch again, as there's a 1:32.762 at the very bottom of my screen. So we're never going to see faster lap times unless I absolutely pay attention, it seems. But nonetheless, Lewis is coming through the end of Sector 3, and we're going to see if he can get into the 132s. He's been complaining about it all time, and he is not going to do that. It's a 1:33.4, and he was saying prior getting into the race that he just can't make it into the 132s. He may have been able to do that, actually, but he had a problem out of the final corner and that caused his rear end to complain quite a bit. And Lewis, unfortunately, does not have the most impressive lap time on his hands. There is Dertamo, who is out on an outlap and is getting ready to come around for his first lap of qualifying. There's about 9 minutes to go in the session. And there is a yellow flag somewhere. I think that is just the driver's slowing up, letting by other drivers. It seems to be going on with the racing points, and so he's trying to let somebody by. I'm not too sure that was. It looks like it's it is in fact well, it's a person who's not on the lap. That's Lewis. Nonetheless, Dertamo has started his lap, so let's ride on board with the Red Bull driver as he's coming towards the end of Sector 1. Going into the chicane, fastest in the first sector is Dertamo, and immediately invalidates his lap because he just cut a little bit too much of that first chicane near the end of Sector 1. So Dertamo is going to slow it right back up, and he may go for another run on these set of tires, as it was near the beginning of the lap. So he may have an ability to go around again, as long as he doesn't have any difficult moments around the track coming back around. Ollie Flavel is on a lap in the Williams, or at least I believe he is on a lap. If we bring up the telemetry, no, he is not on a lap. He's aborted this one. He seems to have made a mistake somewhere. There is VER Devon, another driver who does not have a time on the board. As we mentioned, he had an invalidation on the previous one. Let's see if he goes fastest in the first sector. No, actually does not go fastest in the first sector. It's a 16 second there in the first sector. Now coming through the second sector, back onto the long straight with the DRS zone right there. He opens up the flap, and he's coming towards the uphill chicane. Let's see how he handles it. Going into the little bit dip right there, braking around the 100-meter board, coming through the chicane uphill, using as much curve as he can, and he seems to get the car pretty well settled back on the power. Now the DRS back again on this straight, cutting as close. You can see how close to the line he cuts, trying to make up the distance as much as possible. A nice second sector, but he does lock up towards the end as he goes a little deep, and that might cost him a couple hundredths of a second, which is all it takes to lose a pole position here in Formula 5, with all the drivers very well off in pace. As Devon is coming through the third sector now, we'll see how he performs here in the end of the lap. Can he put himself on pole position here today in the Formula 5 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix? Coming around the final turn, it's looking to be a very good lap from the Haas driver. Comes across the line, and it is going to be a fastest time. It's a 132. Well, it was a 132.549 fastest, but then LRB says, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm LRB in the Racing Point, and I just set a 132.455 to put himself provisionally on pole position at the moment. And Jules as well, a very impressive third spot right now. We have to mention that as well. It's a 1-3 right now for the Racing Point crew, who consistently continue to put in very nice results, and they are doing very well at the moment. But Devon is the highest driver at the moment of everybody who is in the championship battle with a time. He is the highest right now. Dertamo does not have a time, and there is only about 6 minutes left to go, and a little under that to go in the session. So Dertamo gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit here if he wants to find himself a time here and put himself a little further up the grid. Mike K sitting a very respectable 5th right now, but he definitely wants to be higher up. Abu Dhabi can lend a lot of nice battles, but it can also lend a lot of DRS training, so Mike K has to be wary of that. He wants to have as nice a position as possible around Devon. So we'll see at the moment where Devon is right now. He's still in a position where if he stayed in 3rd, it's all up to the drivers of Mike K and Dertamo finishing 10th or below to win himself a championship. There is TFA Jesper, who seems to be on an off lap. and has gone second fastest, actually. Sorry. Again, it's a little hard to keep up everything with MMA/'s time there, but TFA Jesper has, in fact, gone second fastest. So that has dropped down Devin to third, and that is why Gilles is fourth. Fifth right now for Mike K. Dertamo is back out on track, coming around the hairpin here. This may be Dertamo's final attempt for a lap here, and this is not what Dertamo can afford to have happen here in this race. The driver who was very candid about his dislike for the Yas Marina circuit. We'll see if his dislike can still be rewarded with a good time. And he is using as much time as possible, so this is definitely going to be a last-ditch run for Dertamo to find himself anywhere near the top of the timing sheets, the challenge for the championship here. There is Ollie Flavel, another invalidated lap, and he is still about a time. The only Williams driver on the grid pretty much all season long. Ollie Flavel is going to have to tidy it up a little bit. I believe he is going slow so he can reserve some ERS and go for another one on the same set of softs. And we'll see if he can, in fact, finally set a valid time. But here comes Dertamo in the Aston Martin Red Bull team. Still Aston Martin Red Bull Racing in the year of 2020. It will begin as Red Bull Racing in the 2021 season, of course, as Aston Martin becomes its own Formula One outfit. Nonetheless, Dertamo coming through the first turn, and this is going to be his final attempt here, we believe, for a lap around the Yas Marina circuit. Can Dertamo find himself fastest as he goes through the first sector, fastest on track? And this time he stays valid through the first chicane, coming through the hairpin, back on the power, back on the straight. He's got a Renault behind him, and I'm not sure who that is. I believe, MMA Slash, that is, in fact, who is not on a timed lap, so he's not going to be getting any slipstream advantage that he would like to have. Dertamo now coming through into the end of Sector 2. Can he set a fastest Sector 2? Dertamo hopping over the curb, a little unsettled from the rear. Not going to hurt anybody too much. And he's got a driver right there weaving. That is Quicksilver in the Haas as he goes through him. And he has been bested in the second sector very quickly by somebody, it felt like. But nonetheless, he did go fastest in the second sector. I think that might have just been a glitch. But nonetheless, Dertamo is really on a roll right now, going through the sectors fastest. Now he just has to navigate the final sector, keep it valid, and he could find himself on pole position. He's flying through the underneath the Aramco barrier, and now coming through the penultimate turn and then the final turn. Will Dertamo find himself on provisional pole position here near the end of qualifying, coming across the line? No, only fourth fastest. So Dertamo did not have a great final sector, and that's only going to put him fourth on the grid, but it is ahead of Mike K. It is just behind Devin, but Dertamo would have loved to have claimed pole position here today. So that is it for Dertamo. That is where he stands at the moment. Devin is on a lap time right now, and we'll see if he can put himself any faster as he's coming through the second sector. Right now, I do not know what the first sector split was for him, as Mike K is also on the lap, actually a little further ahead. So let's ride on board with Mike K, because he's going to be the next driver here in the championship battle, as he has gone fastest in the second sector, but it looks like it was beaten rather quickly, and it might have been beaten by Devin 3043. So really, it is already a duel in the championship between the top three right now, as a hard braking right there, a big lockup for Mike K, as he's coming through the underneath of the barrier. Oh, a little problem from the rear end, and through the hotel section. Very wobbly right there for Mike K as he's coming through the penultimate turn, about to come through the final turn. The rear is rather complaining on this final lap. Another problem for the rear end there. He comes across the line. It is not going to be faster. And now Devin goes fastest on track. pole position for Devin at the moment here in Abu Dhabi. Qualifying is about to expire, and that is it for Devin. He will go round again, but of course, he will not be going for another hot lap. He's going to preserve those tires as much as possible, but Devin right now, provisionally on pole position. LRB goes fastest, though, on track by about a tenth and a half of a second, has gone faster than LRB. Jules is also on the lap time right now as he's coming through the first sector, but he has gone a little bit slower. Looks like he's going to remain third fastest. And oh, look at this. It is TFA Jesper who has gone fastest in the second sector. So hold on here, ladies and gentlemen. A Ferrari might find himself besting the top of the standings there, which is held up by LRB. TFA Jesper, the shining horse right now for the Scuderia team, coming through the hotel section here at Yas Marina. And now we're about to see him come around the turn, and there he is, flying through the chicane right there and coming out of the hotel section. Final turn to navigate. A bit of a lockup coming across the line. Will he go fastest? Yes, he will. 132.2. That is fastest on track for TFA Jesper. And is there anybody? The only person I would believe would have been Mike K, but he is done with a lap. Where is Tim Wentic? Tim Wentic is done. Plebs, is he the only driver, I believe, setting a time? I believe he is. Let's bring up the detail right there. Sorry, the telemetry. He is on a timed lap. Let's see. Can Plebs go any faster than 16th at the moment? He's going to come across the line. It is going to be a 133.9. It is not any faster. It is TFA Jesper who has claimed pole position here today in Abu Dhabi. LRB second, Devin crucially third, and that has dropped down Dertamo to fifth and Mike K down to seventh, and that is not where they need to be right now in the end of qualifying. And what a qualifying session that was. The end of the final couple of minutes right there between everybody, the times that came across. Oh my goodness, this is what has made Formula 5 so exciting this season. The absolute competitive to the edge and to the limit from all these drivers. And it is now about to be time for race time. It is about to become time for the drivers to all come up onto the grid and get ready to race around here at Yas Marina. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to see how this race is going to unfold. You're watching PSGL action live right now from Formula 5. It's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. There is TFA Jesper as he is the man at the top of the timing sheets. Pole position for him today at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. LRB is in second. VER Devin 3043, championship leader in third position. VER Gilles in fourth. Dertamo behind in third position in the championship in fifth. Sixth for QVR Cortez, second in the championship. VER Mike K in seventh. Alpha AZT in eighth. Ninth for Matt Tebos. MMA Sashin 10th position. 11th for Mark C. And Tim Wentic in 12th. Ollie Flavel in 13th. 14th for Quicksilver. 15th for Lewis, and Plebs actually comes up last in the standings. Lewis had a very tough qualifying session, and as his complaints came up to reality, he is almost slowest on track. 15th he's going to be starting. We'll see if he can make up a recovery here at Yas Marina. But that is the end of qualifying. It's time for race time here. Abu Dhabi, penultimate round, 3 men in the fight for the championship. Will it be Devin? Will it be Mike K? Will it be Dertamo? Right now, Devin, the only eligible driver in this race to come away with the championship. He has a few opportunities to do it as we move on throughout the race. We'll see if he can do it today. We're just waiting for all of the drivers to load up in. We will have the formation lap. I'll go over the grid order one more time for everybody joining. Thank you, everybody who is joining us live right now. We appreciate all of the viewership you have given Formula 5 over the course of the season, and we appreciate all the support through all of the Formula tiers throughout Season 27. It has truly been such a memorable year for PSGL through Season 27, and I cannot wait for the next season to get underway, as session start time is about to begin in 25 seconds and counting. My name is Iserlix. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's get started and ready. We're about to get ready for the formation lap, which leads to those 5 red lights that will come on and then off. And we'll get ready for the start for the Formula 5 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And we're just about to get onto that singular red light for the formation lap. And there goes on that single red light. The engines move on, and so do the drivers. And there is TFA Jesper, the man who finds himself on pole position here today. Let's bring up the details so you can see all of the tire choices. The top 10, as you might expect, all on the soft compound tire. LRB in second position with the Devon Championship leader in third position. VER Gilles will start fourth, with Dertamo starting in the top 5, with QVR Cortez in sixth. The last of the championship men in this current standings is seventh, and that is beholden to Mike K. Alpha AZT has started 8th, 9th for Matt Tebos, and 10th for MMA Slash. That rounds off the top 10. Let's go through the bottom drivers in the standings here. Mark C will start on the medium compound tire in 11th position, with Tim Wentic electing the softs in 12th. Ollie Flavel will start 13th on the mediums, with VER Quicksilver on the mediums in 14th. 15th will start for Lewis on the medium tire, and Plebs has elected for a new set of soft tires in 16th position. As TFA Jesper is coming through the final uphill chicane of Sector 3, he's coming towards the end of his formation lap, where his car will line up on his grid position, and we'll get ready for the start of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We'll bring up the telemetry standings right there so you can see exactly what's going on with all of the cars. There's the gears. You can see the ERS. You see the RPM levels. You can see how much throttle and braking they're applying at the time. And there's your predicted pit stop strategy, soft, medium, or soft, medium. That's your predicted pit stop strategy for F1 Insights, presented by Amazon Web Services. And here we go. TFA Jesper, Scuderia Ferrari, lining up on pole position. LRB alongside him in second. Devon in third, with Gilles in fourth. There comes Dertamo in fifth. QVR Cortez behind in sixth. And there is seventh for Mike K. As the final car right there in Plebs in the Red Bull is lining up on his grid position. And we are just getting ready for those 5 red lights to come on and then off. The engines are idling. The cars have just straightened up, and here we go. The engine's revving. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here in Abu Dhabi, and it's a very quick 5 lights. The lights are out, and away we go. It's been a fantastic start from Devon, trying to go alongside the racing point into turn 1, and now Jesper is getting eaten alive by LRB coming into turn 1 through turn 2, and it looks to be LRB who has the advantage, and he is in fact ahead of the Ferrari driver. Devon stays in third position. A fantastic start from Dertamo, as Dertamo is going side by side of one of the racing points. He may in fact try to go ahead around the outside. A very quick safety car in this race has been deployed. I don't see what the might have been. Is it Quicksilver who's had problems? And I'm trying to see who has been the loser here in this situation. First lap safety car. We barely got through the first couple of corners. Who is the driver with damage? We do see VER Quicksilver. He's got big damage. That is going to be bad for the Haas team. Ollie Flavel is last. Does he have damage? Yes, they'll slow up a bit. He does, in fact, have damage on both of the rear end plates. A little difficult with the color of the front wing of the Williams car. But nonetheless, we are under safety car very quickly here in this race. Before the safety car came out, though, LRB did, in fact, take the lead of this race. TFA Jesper sits in second position now. Devon behind in third. So Devon stays in third position. Gilles is in fourth. Dertamo in fifth. Cortez stays where he is. So does Mike K. So generally very same in terms of the sheets here right now. Here is the big thing, though. Alpha AZT and MMA Slash are both in the points. Quicksilver is not in the points, and he does have a pit stop due for himself at the end of this lap with a lot of wing damage on the front end. But it looks like MMA Slash is going to very quickly go into the pit lane. So, in fact, many soft runners are going into the pit lane. And they are done with these soft tires. They're going right onto the medium tire. So this is really busy in the pit lane right here. I feel a little bit like Ted Kravitz as we're seeing major action in the pit lane, and most of the soft tire runners are moving very quickly to the medium compound tire. So that throws Amazon Web Services into the bin with a whole new strategy to begin. And Devin is going to come out on track from this pit stop, and he is going to lead the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So this is big for Devin in the championship. He has come out in the lead after all said and done. Unbelievable scenes here. Oh, so maybe is there an update? No, never mind. I thought he was still in the lead. No. Okay, so he makes his pit stop. I was like, where's the safety car, actually? So I was noticing, where's the safety car? And then I've seen the update, so apologies. Devin comes out in 8th. Mike K is in 10th, and Dertamo is in 12th. So all the drivers near the top, it seems, have actually decided to go onto their mediums early. LRB stays out, so does Jesper. Alpha AZT stays out, so he's in 3rd. Of course, he didn't want to double stack in the Renault garage. Tim Wentic has stayed out in 4th. The medium tire runners who stayed out, of course, are going to be at most advantage here as they're going to be stopping well later into this race. Those soft tire runners are not. So C and Lewis, they have had a complete reversal of fortunes here, being that the soft tire runners did not stop yet. This is a very interesting situation here where 5 soft tire runners decided not to make pit stop. I can understand Plev's not doing it. Being so far back, he has nothing to lose by deciding to not make a pit stop. But I'm surprised by the other drivers deciding not to make pit stops. And looks like the Renault was flirting with the pit lane there. He decides against it at the very end there. Whether or not he was ever intending to do that is one thing. So Plebs has actually made a pit stop, and now I really don't understand. But I guess, like I said, you don't have anything to lose. So Plebs is going to go on to what tire is he deciding to put on? That is the medium tire for Plebs. So never mind. Plebs goes on to the mediums. Quicksilver is making another pit stop. So this is rather peculiar. So Quicksilver has another pit stop. That's his second pit stop in this race in under 3 laps. So strategies are a little hard to figure out here, but nonetheless, Quicksilver is now on the medium tires, though it says he's on 2 lap mediums, so I'm not too sure about what's going on. The F1 game may just be a little bit confused, that's all. I don't remember putting on a Leaderboard camera, but there you go. So LRB is in first, TFA in second, TFA Jesper. Alpha AZT finds himself in third. Where is Devin? So Devin sits in 7th. Mike K splitting a split behind by Jules, who's in the middle of the two. MMA Slash is splitting Mike K and Dertamo. So Dertamo right now out of the points. But right now there is no situation where any of those drivers, or at least Devin, does not... if Devin closes the championship, there's just no situation either. As we're still on the penultimate round, Devin has to get into that points majority where he has so many points it's impossible mathematically for them to get into the championship. That is 16 points. But at the moment, that's not the case. And when we get into Japan, if it stays as it is, it's just going to be who has the most points at the end. Obviously, that would be the ideal situation as you're a spectator. Maybe Devin would rather have that not be the case. Nonetheless, LRB is about to get us underway. The safety car peeled in rather early near the end of this lap. And so LRB is going to have control of the pack for quite a bit here as they're getting ready for the restart. There is TFA Jesper in the racing point, getting us ready for the restart. Coming around the penultimate turn. When is he going to get ready? He's still warming up his tires, still really slowing up the grid here. And now he gets back on the power. So here we go. LRB leading us away, back under green flag. TFA Jesper in second. Alpha ACT is in third. Right away under pressure from Tim Wentic as he looks on the inside, but unfortunately stays back for the moment, not able to make a move. Dirtamo making very quick work of MMA Slash up in the 10th position, and now is going to try to challenge on Mike K. Where is Devin? Devin still in 7th position, chasing down Lewis in 6th position. As that was a very clean getaway for everybody under the restart here from the safety car. There is TFA Jesper trying to chase down LRB, trying to get back up in the first position. Remember, getting jumped on the first lap. We are on lap 4 of this race. Normally, this would be the start of DRS, but of course, after that safety car, we now have to wait another 3 laps before the DRS does in fact get activated, unless we have some freak rain or something coming on in the Oz Marina, which I do not expect to happen at the moment. It is just looking very nice, sunsetty skies here as we move on into the nighttime skies. Tim Wentic is chasing down the Renault, and oh, he actually hits the back end. Oh, he spun Alpha AZT. So he's made contact with Alpha AZT, who's now getting Ian alive, and it looks like there was contact between him and Tim Wentic, and that has made Alpha AZT go way down the grid, and now there's a whole jumble of cars trying to make up position, and Devin is getting in the mix right now, and Devin's off track, and Devin is getting overtaken by Gilles. Now Dirtamo might get involved as well, riding on board of the Red Bull driver right here, and Devin is now in 7th position. Mike K in 9th position right there, so it is 3 astern right now. Mike K, Dirtamo, and Devin, 7th, 8th, and 9th right now in this race. So drama there for Alpha AZT, almost completely got spun around, got the car back under control, but Tim Wentic made a little bit of contact right there, and it was almost a bit of a NASCAR bump draft as he hit him from the rear diffuser, and that really unsettled the car. So nonetheless, Devin is now trying to chase down Gilles, and it's a bit of a 3-way battle right now. Alpha AZT, Dirtamo is right behind there, and there is Mike K. So there are your men in the battle for the championship, but all are out of place right now, including especially Devin, to close up the championship in this round. So there is LRB, though, still keeping the lead. TFA Jesper has pulled away a little bit from Tim Wentic, who has, of course, made that contact with Alpha AZT and is now about 1 second back. Alpha AZT 3.2 seconds back, now chasing around and defending for dear life from Lewis. And look at this, Devin trying to make a move, look to be on the inside of Gilles, does not make it work, and now Dirtamo is right on the back of the Haas driver, and look at how close they were. Front wing, the rear diffuser right there for Dirtamo as he's trying to find a way past the Haas driver and put himself up in the 7th position, and crucially ahead of his championship rival. Mike K, the worst of these 3 drivers, sitting in 9th, still well within the points. But right now it is still ball game to go into Japan as it stands right now. Lap 5 of 28 DRS has now been enabled. So now you can use the rear flap from your car and open it up. And you can increase your top end speed if you're at least within 1 second of the car ahead of you. And that is going to allow you to make some overtakes that weren't originally possible. There is a very, very cool top end shot there from Yas Marina, and it is Lewis right now trying to chase down Alpha AZT in the Renault. Going through the hairpin, looking a little bit on the outside, a little bit too far back, so he's going to stay there for the moment in 5th position. Gilles in 6th position, Devin in 7th, Dirtamo sitting there in 8th. And DRS is open all across the board. Alpha AZT, a bit of a sitting duck without his DRS. Of course, he's very far back from Tim Wentic, so he does not have that advantage. Quicksilver and Ollie Flavel, meanwhile, are having a bit of a scrap, and Ollie Flavel, he gave Quicksilver the push there. I'm not too sure how that worked out originally. Oh, there's some weaving going on at the back, and that is not something that is allowed. And Ollie Flavel gave the position to Quicksilver, so I'm not sure if there was a possibility of penalties, but maybe Ollie Flavel took it as such, and he has allowed Quicksilver. Oh no, that's why there's damage to Ollie Flavel. And I'm sure we're going to see what happened because of that after the case. Plebs has made a move on Quicksilver. Does Quicksilver have equal damage on his front wing? And no, he doesn't. We'll try to see what happened after the race, but nonetheless, let's move back up with this battle right now in the mid-pack. Meanwhile, Jules has made a move on Alpha AZT. And Alpha AZT has made a pit stop off of those soft tires. So the first of the drivers who did not make pit stops yet off their softs have in fact done so when we expected them to around lap 6 or lap 7. This is going to be really, really exciting. Devin is going to be in the battle for a podium now at this point. Dirtamo right there, Mike K. When these pit stops come through, we're going to have a real fight on our hands here at the top of the standings. Meanwhile, we're still waiting for the top 3 to finally make pit stops. Mark C has just gone ahead of, it looks like he just got ahead of Quicksilver. No, sorry, it's still updating. Quicksilver in 13th. Still out of the points at the moment. Alpha AZT is, meanwhile, out of the points. He did not stop, and I think that was a bit of a blunder for everybody on the soft tires, but we'll see how it works out for them. Of course, they'll be on much newer tires as we move on throughout the race, and those medium tire runners still have to make pit stops later on. Probably will go on to a new set of softs at the end of the race, so they're going to be wicked quick towards the end. Now, if you didn't stop, you could try to do a soft medium strategy, but I expect they're going to go to the medium tires. And does any of them go into the pits? No, they don't. They stay out for the moment, but TFA Jesper's tires may have said that he probably should have pitted because he had a lot of rear-end instability coming out of the penultimate turn. Let's ride on board with MMA Slash, actually, because he's putting the most amount of pressure right now on Mike K. Mike K has actually dropped back from Dirtamo. Meanwhile, Dirtamo is continuing to keep on the pressure on Devin. So this is a real title showdown on our hands. At the moment, though, there is no situation where Devin wins the championship here at Yas Marina, and it seems like there's not going to have that situation come arise in this particular race. Devin will have to have some absolute luck, it seems, from Dirtamo and Mike K having problems for that to occur. Look at this, though. Dirtamo is gaining on Devin. He's really starting to gain on Devin. He might make a move on Devin on the inside, and he was really gaining him on that straight, but at the moment he's going to stay behind. But for how much longer? As we ride on board with Dirtamo, he's using a lot of overtake, which may be the reason, but he's actually now losing time. As now, look at this. Devin is making a move on the inside of Jules. They're side by side through the uphill chicane. Now Devin has the inside line. They're still side by side. As look at this. Oh, there's problems for now Devin. As there goes Dirtamo. Can now look at this. Mike K, can he take advantage of the problem for the Haas driver? Trying to go around the outside. On the inside is Devin, and he stays ahead for the moment, but that was scary for Devin, and he almost had a problem there where he could have gone overtaken by both of his championship rivals. But at the moment, Dirtamo is up in 6th, and there might have just been a situation where Devin stuck his nose a little too long in that battle, and that cost him. We'll have to wait and see. Jules may get investigated for clipping him, but it looked to be, at the time, it may have just been Devin keeping his front nose a little bit too long in that battle, and that has allowed Dirtamo now to get ahead of Devin, and now Mike K is going to be all over the Haas driver. Now Devin crucially did not pick up damage in that particular range there. He may have some very light damage, but it's not going to be enough to cause any total scare in the Haas garage, and more importantly, scare for Devin inside that racing helmet. As we try to catch a bit of a breather at the moment right now. What seems in this race so far, a very early safety car in this race, and since then, it has been some very tricky and hard-nosed racing, but it has brought some very exciting moments. Here is Dirtamo, who is gaining on Jules rather quickly, as Jules is now about to be under pressure from the Red Bull driver, Dirtamo. Meanwhile, the drivers on the soft tires are still out on those soft tires, and if we try to ride on board And let me bring off the details so you can just see the tire degradation. It's not looking great, but they could possibly go a little bit further on into the race. We'll have to wait and see. Bring back up the tire detail there, though. They stay out for the moment. So still, those top 3 are out on those tires. Lewis may find himself, in fact, is going to find himself leading this race as long as Gilles doesn't make a counteroffensive. But at the moment, Dirtamo is really putting on the offense on Gilles. Ooh, Lewis had a bit of a weird line through the turn right there. I believe that's allowed Gilles to catch up quite a bit to the AlphaTauri driver. As you can see, they're only half a second separating them. And as you can see in the distance there, not too far in the distance, Lewis got very much in sight. Oh, there's a problem, and it's Mark C out of this race, and so he's just retired. Sorry, I thought there was a crash right there, but no, it's just a retirement for Mark C, and that is it for the Mercedes driver in this race. A very disappointing race for Mark C, and unfortunately, it has not come to much of a result for him. Nonetheless, we'll get you right back to action here. 5th place in Gilles, and Gilles is actually looking to size up Lewis as he looks on the inside, kind of flirts with an overtake with the AlphaTauri driver, but the side's against it for the moment. Meanwhile, Dirtamo is still putting the pressure on Gilles. Devin trying to put the pressure on Dirtamo. Mike K, meanwhile, does have to contend with MMA Slash still very much, as it is lock up the lure coming into that chicane and under the bridge section there in Abu Dhabi. You can see the dark skies getting just a little bit darker. We're moving on into the night sky here as the cars are really starting to glisten. And there is your first pit stop from the soft tire runners, the remaining soft tire runners, and it's LRB who has gone into the pit lane, and soft tires will come on for the driver right there. We'll see how long he gets on. He may be able to extend it to a one-stop. I'd be surprised, but it is possible. We'll see. We're going to see really, it really just depends on how long these medium tire runners go for, how long they stay competitive. Meanwhile, Lewis is really caught up to TFA Jesper, and he's now within DRS range. He does not have DRS on this particular part of the track, but he is going to have it come the next part of the track as long as he doesn't have any mistakes, and as long as he doesn't have to deal with Gilles, who is really pressurizing the AlphaTauri driver. Right behind his rear diffuser with his front wing. He's got the DRS open again. Lewis is trying to catch up to TFA Jesper. He does in fact get DRS on this particular occasion, and at the moment he stays ahead of Gilles. Dirtamo still sits there in 5th, Devin in 6th, and Mike K behind in 7th. It's a nice little train of cars right here. Anything can happen, and we've seen a few moments where drivers have just been within attacking distance, and we may see a driver finally just say, well, I'm just going to go for it. And right now, Tim Lintic and I believe Jesper are both going to dive into the pit lane and react to the pit stop from LRB, who right now is in 12th position. And there goes the top 2, who were the top 2, but now it is Lewis who leads this Grand Prix. But now Lewis is going to have a lot of problems on his hands because he's got a very rampant Racing Point driver in VER Gilles, who is going to have some DRS and some ERS to play with. Right there, about 16%. Lewis has saved up though; he's got about 60%, so he's got some. He's got a little bit of battery to play with. Dirtamo has got about 35%, so he could actually make a better attack on Gilles if he wanted to. Devin has been saving up; he's got about 50% in the tank. Mike K has over 50% in the tank. So right now, actually, Gilles may be in the worst position of the bunch, but nonetheless, he is really catching up. He's got some DRS. He's not using any ERS and overtake, but he does get close to Lewis and catches up a little bit more with that lockup. And looking from Lewis' point of view, that was an unstable rear if I ever saw. Oh, look at this though. Dirtamo is now really putting the pressure on Gilles. As we said, he does not have a lot of battery life right there. And look at this, around the outside is trying to go Dirtamo. He's now going to have the inside line through the turn. The inside line is for Gilles. Dirtamo around the outside again. Now going to have the inside line coming through the turn here. They're still side by side, and Gilles at the moment stays alive And what a battle between Jules and Dertamo. But Dertamo stays in third at the moment. Devin in fourth, and fifth for Mike K. I don't want to say it's completely, absolutely going to happen, but could you imagine a podium with Dertamo, with Devin, with Mike K? That would kind of be the dream, I think, for a podium interview room if I ever saw it. But nonetheless, Lewis still leads this Grand Prix, and at the moment he can be very thankful that he's got a little bit more in the tank on the battery pack right there. Jules is struggling, only 8%. Dertamo does not have nearly as much to play with. Devin still has a lot, 40% right there about. Mike K now over 60% on his overtake, but MMA Slash does have a bit of overtake, and he is going to use it, and he might be able to catch up to Mike K, but no, actually he loses some straight end speed. Let's ride on board with Dertamo, who's trying to put the offensive back on Jules on this lap. And can he make the overtake come this next DRS straight? We're going to ride on board with the Red Bull driver. And can we see a bit of an advantage starting to form? It looks like he's gaining a little bit on him, but now Dertamo has his own problems on his hands with his own battery, because now it is really starting to get towards the end of its available energy. Lewis still has a lot of ERS to play with, and that's going to allow him to be able to keep ahead for the moment. And there's Devin in fourth, kind of watching along in the background, trying to see if there's a mistake by anybody. Can he put himself back ahead of Dertamo up into that coveted third position, which may be the position for a possible overtake for a victory here. We'll see if how hard Jules and Dertamo fight. They know they're not in the championship, but they are still very much in the battle for the win here. Lewis will stop a little later. He's got a little bit more laps on those medium tires at the moment. And we do have a pit stop from Mike K. So Mike K has made a pit stop, and he is going to go on to a new set of medium tires, which will surely go on to the end of the race. So an interesting call from Mike K here as he moves on to the medium compound tire. Will we see the drivers up there in now third and fourth? See if they we'll see if they react to that. I'm not sure if they will. Oh, look at this, Dertamo is looking on the inside, and oh my goodness, Lewis is really starting to lose pace to Jules, but Jules does not get the exit like Dertamo does. Now Dertamo's still right on the back of him. Here comes Jules, though. Is he going to make a challenge on the inside? Lewis seems to give him room, and Dertamo equally stays back for the moment. Devin still watching in the background, just waiting, in my opinion, for these drivers to just tangle a little bit too much. And you did see there, Dertamo and Jules were not afraid to go side by side through some very unorthodox overtake locations. And we may see a mistake come through if the drivers aren't too careful, if they're not used to going side by side through those very tricky part of the corners. It is getting frisky here in Formula 5. And Lewis leading this Grand Prix by about 0.6 of a second. Matt Tebos, meanwhile, has made an overtake on a pitting QBR Cortez, as he will go on to a new set of, I believe, soft tires. He has to change to a different set of tire regardless. I believe he started on the mediums. And no, he's put on a new set of mediums, so maybe he did set on the softs at some point. It's very hard to keep track. But nonetheless, Dertamo still trying to chase down Jules. Jules keeping up with Lewis. He's got the DRS. He doesn't have any overtake, though, and this is probably the crucial bit, which is keeping Jules behind. Dertamo a lot more conservative with his ERS use. Lewis has a bit of a problem out of the corner, though, and that's going to allow Jules to catch up now. He's going to use some ERS as much as he has. He's got the DRS. He's going to go side by side with the AlphaTauri driver, and into the chicane is Jules ahead of Lewis ahead of Jules. So I think Jules just ran out of battery at the last moment and didn't quite brake late enough, and that's going to allow Lewis to stay ahead for the moment. Meanwhile, MMA Slash and Mike K are having a battle right now, and Mike K cannot afford to be battling with the Renault driver right there. He needs to get ahead of the Renault driver. Is there a pit stop coming anytime soon? It is for Gilles. Into the pit lane goes the Racing Point driver, so he now has reacted to the pit stops from Mike K. And we'll see if the other is now reacting kind. D'Artamo has gone up to second, and now Devin is up in the third. Now, where does Gilles come out in relative to Mike K? Does Mike K get ahead of Gilles? Yes, he does. So that is crucial for Mike K. He gets ahead of Gilles. Now, can he get ahead of Devin and D'Artamo, who have yet to make pit stops? If anybody was in their microphones, they may be saying, Devin, D'Artamo, pit now. Pit now, because you are going to have problems with drivers like Mike K if he gets ahead of you. But that is exactly what Mike K needs to keep this championship fight up and running. Here, meanwhile, D'Artamo is trying to make an overtake on Lewis, and a much better attack than Gilles put up. Going on the outside line, it looks like Lewis still has the advantage, and some contact between the two. Now a mistake looks to be for D'Artamo, but D'Artamo stays ahead of Devin for the moment. Now a pit stop might be in order soon, so these drivers may not want to battle nearly as much as they are. They're just going to continue to lose time. That's going to allow Mike K to get ahead of them in the pit stops, and now it could be Mike K's race to win. Let's see, are we going to see a dive into the pit lane? No pit stops for those top three. A little surprising, given that Mike K did get ahead of Gilles in the pit stop battle right there. Mike K, surely, I would assume, is going to be able to get ahead of these top three, and Mike K might find himself in the area for a possible victory. Well, meanwhile, LRB actually is in the best position. Sorry, so we do have to update you. We still have those medium tires of LRB and Tim Wentic and Jesper, who are really still in the title. It's really still in the winning fight here. But at the moment, there is really no situation right now where there is a title winner here, because Devin in third position, D'Artamo cannot be in second if he has any chance of winning the title here in Abu Dhabi. But going to the end of the DRS section, D'Artamo keeps his front wing just a bit out of the rear diffuser of Lewis. Riding on board with the Red Bull driver. Can he make another attack coming into the chicane? He's going to try to brake as late as he can, and he stays behind for the moment. Devin stays behind as well. Jesper has made an overtake on Tim Wentic coming up into the chicane, and gets the move done and dusted. No side-by-side battling for him. He makes it an easy overtake up into sixth position. Now trying to chase down LRB, who is just waiting for these top four drivers to make their pit stops and have himself take back the lead of this race. Now, towards the end of this battle, LRB might find himself having to make another pit stop unless these drivers, we'll see how long Lewis stays out. If he can stay out 20 laps, maybe we may see. Oh, look at this. Tim Wentic is making another offensive and has gone ahead of Tim Wentic. Jesper. Jesper's out of the session. I think he's had a disconnect. That is not good. Jesper has had a disconnect, and he is going to lose time, and he is definitely out of any possibility for winning this race. As that is, I did not see that happen. And we got to keep on board, though, still with this top-end pack. D'Artamo still in the fight. And now he's very close. Lewis did not have a good first sector. Lewis under pressure. He's going to give as much room as possible to the outside lane, though not the optimal location for an overtake. Side by side through the chicane. Now the inside line, and D'Artamo has gone ahead of Lewis. Lewis will try to make a counter-offensive. He's got the overtake to play with. He's got the ERS. Look at Devin, though. Is he going to make it a double overtake, possibly? They're still side by side. Devin gets covered off. Here comes Lewis around the outside, and now Devin still has the inside line. And D'Artamo has the inside line. D'Artamo keeps ahead. Lewis into second position. So D'Artamo has taken the lead here. Of course, a pit stop is still due in order in just a couple of laps time, we expect at least. that to happen. LRB, meanwhile, is right behind that pack. So Matt Tebos has been disposed of, who is in 5th position. And now there have been only 3. And they dive into the pits after that little fun battle right there near the end. And that allows LRB to go back up into the lead of this race. And so LRB will most likely stay in the lead here as long as he doesn't get overtaken by anybody. He's got nice wide berth to take this victory here. About 1.3 seconds, it looks like. Tim Wentic, where's he? Yeah, about 1. Sorry, it's a little bit more than that. The timing sheets still haven't updated. I have to assume it'd be about maybe 3.5, 4 seconds. MMA Slash is back by about half a second in 3rd. Mike K is in 4th. So Mike K has really gone the best of this. Now, of course, this means that people like, Dirtamo and Devin and Lewis and Matt Tebos, they're on some nice soft tires, which have a nice load of grip on them, and that's going to allow them to make some very quick work of drivers ahead of them. Now, here comes his teammate Plevs, who I don't think is going to make too much of a challenge for his teammate. I'm trying to get a better camera angle. It is a pretty easy move for Dirtamo. Plevs does not battle too hard with that particular driver. He does not want to ruin Dirtamo's chances of catching a championship here in Season 5. And it's pretty unlikely the championship ends today as we move on into the final 9 laps of this Grand Prix. Let's see, MMA Slash. Now, the timing sheets say that it's only 33 hundredths of a second, but we know that's not true. We do know that MMA Slash has gone back into the lead ahead of Tim Wentic, at least, up in the 2nd position, but we know the gap is a bit. So there it is, 3.5 seconds now is that gap. So now we can pay a little better attention to what's going up on at the top. Alpha AZT has made his pit stop off onto the medium tires. And fastest in the 3rd sector was Dirtamo right there, so of course the soft tires working well right now. Devin finally just gets back into the points and now has to try to dispatch of Plebs. Now, is Plebs going to play a bit of teammate games? Is he going to be a little bit tougher with the Haas driver, or is it just going to be a little bit more respectful? We'll have to wait and see. There is the Red Bull driver ahead, a little further. Dirtamo we're talking about there, and then maybe Plebs is holding up Devin a little bit. He's not going to be able to hold him up much longer, though. He's got a nice long straight, and ooh, look at this. They're getting a little close of each other, and Plebs did not make that easy, but unfortunately, Plebs can't do anything to hold him up any further if he wanted to help his teammate, because he stays in 10th now as Devin makes easy work of the Red Bull driver. Let's ride with Mike K, though, because right now he's in a very nice position to possibly catch a podium here. And there is Mike K in 4th position, trying to chase down Tim Wentic. The sky is getting a little bit darker, the floodlights a little bit brighter, as we've moved on towards now lap 21, as LRB crosses the line to start, in fact, that lap, as we're heading into the closing stages here. And LRB has a pretty commanding lead. Now, if we look at the penalties, let's see what the situation is with that. So right now, LRB has 3 seconds, so he's very safe from Dirtamo, who has, MMA Slash. Dirtamo does set the fastest lap, is what happened there. MMA Slash has 6 seconds, so Tim Wentic is probably going to pick up that position. He or Mike K does not have any penalties, though, so he may be able to find himself pole vaulting a couple of positions here. At least Tim Wentic, if not MMA Slash still as well. So hold on to your horses here. There is still very much a possibility Mike K finds himself well further ahead in the podium positions here. Dirtamo and Devin have not picked up penalties, and Plebs and Matt Tebos also have penalties. Here is Dirtamo making a pass on Cortez. So let's bring back up the tire details, as quick work is made of QVR Cortez by Dirtamo, who moves up in the 7th. Devin will be the next driver to make that overtake, but 1.8 seconds is now the gap he's going to have to make up for that to happen. You're watching live coverage of Formula 5 action from Premier Sims Gaming League's PlayStation Division, and you're watching the very climactic battle right here between these drivers, Mike K, Devin, and Dirtamo, who are all in the battle for the championship in this race. But right now, Devin is sitting there down in 9th position, and this is actually the worst possible position. While he cannot win the championship for sure at this moment, he might actually lose the lead of the championship if he's not too careful. He's got to get ahead of drivers like Cortez pretty soon. There's now a virtual safety car that has been deployed, and it looks to be a problem for Ollie Flavel. So Ollie Flavel has had a crash. Quicksilver is out of this race, so I'm trying to see if we can catch up to the carcass there of Ollie Flavel, but Ollie Flavel has had a crash in Sector 3. It looks around the chicane of Sector 3. And now a pit stop under virtual safety car for plebs onto a new set of softs. Now, virtual safety car, you have to keep your relative delta pace. It's not a full safety car, so it's not nearly as good for a pit stop. And we're back under green flags very quickly there. LRB did lose a little bit of time under that restart, in fact. About 2.4 seconds now, the gap. Tim Wentic, 1.4 seconds back from MMA Slash. Mike K has lost a bit of time. He's outside of a second now to Tim Wentic. Jesper, a second back. And now actually everybody right now has lost a bit of time under that virtual safety car because they're all back by about a second or so. The only driver right now who's in DRS range at all at the moment is Mike K and Jesper. Devin is also going to be getting into that soon. Of course, on the soft tires, he is much faster than Cortez. And we may not see completely pitch black skies towards the ends of this race, but we will be seeing some nice, colorful blue skies. As you can see, the yachts all lined up there at Yas Marina. And it is VER Devin who is trying to find a way past QVR Cortez. He's got to get past him to minimize the damage in the championship standings right now. Again, at the moment, we are going to move on to Japan in Suzuka. Truly a very special place where 16 world champions, I believe, have been crowned. It's either 16 or 13 have been crowned in Japan. A track which is synonymous with crowning Formula 1 world champions. Could Suzuka give us our champion? I believe it will, based on where we are right now in this race. Meanwhile, here comes Devin in the slipstream. He's got the DRS. He's going to have the ERS. He's going to make a very nice and easy overtake on QBR Cortez up into 8th position. And now is in 8th behind Dirtamo in 7th. Riding on board back with Mike K. He has caught back up to Tim Wentic. 2-lap newer medium tires, but seemingly just a bit more pace overall than the McLaren driver. MMA Slash in 2nd position, 1.2 seconds. He is gaining a lot of time on LRB. He's on a little bit newer medium tires, and that might be playing into his advantage. But the the amount of laps, to make that overtake are starting to go down, as now it is just 1 second that gap as we move on to lap 24 of this Grand Prix. We are moving into the final 5 laps of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and right now LRB does lead it. MMA Slash does have some penalties on him, and that is now 9 seconds penalties worth. So surely Mike K will be moving up into at least 3rd position, if not 2nd position right now, based on the penalties. So Mike K, this has been the dream race for him. He may not only get more ahead of Dirtamo, but he may take the lead over from Devin. And this has been the dream race for Mike K. And if you're, you gotta question it a little bit, both those drivers, VER drivers, it's got to be a little fun to have that rivalry in between. But are we going to see a little bit of a more personal racing once we see those two side by side? Some inter-esports team politics, but here comes Mike K, and he has overtaken the McLaren of Tim Wentic moving up through the chicane on the inside, and he's up in the third position, and now his target is LRB, who has been overtaken by MMA Slash. Meanwhile, I do apologize for missing that, and a DNF for, that looks to be Matt Tibos. He's had a crash. And he's crashed somewhere in the chicane, and that's a virtual safety car now deployed. And there's the car right there. Matt Tibos has had an interesting crash right there. And thankfully, I think for some, it's just a virtual safety car again. So MMA Slash has taken back the lead. Mike K sits in third. It's always a bit of a issue trying to chase down this championship right now. Meanwhile, Dirtamo is ahead of Gilles, who is ahead of Devin. So Devin's only in 8th position. He's not scoring a very nice amount of points. Devin, who has led so much of this championship, is now very much in the possibility of being behind in the championship. This is getting rather interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a very interesting final 4 laps. We're back under green flag racing. Safety car restart underway as MMA Slash leads the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. LRB in second, Mike K in third, Tim Wentic in 4th position, Jesper in 5th position in this race. So Jesper has gone back into the race. Now Tim Wentic is trying to make a counter-offensive on Mike K. He's got the DRS, he's got some ERS to play with, and now he's going to try to go to the outside line. On the long side, Mike K, is he going to make the move before the chicane? He does. He forces his way through, and Tim Wentic never count out the McLaren driver because he will continue to put on pressure, and Tim Wentic has found himself up into 3rd position, a podium at the moment right now in F5, and a season which has been so very difficult for him. Could he capture the podium? It's all really up to whether or not he can make up an advantage of 3 seconds. That'd be rather difficult, but it could be possible. Meanwhile, at the moment, and now I don't want to say for sure, but it looks like on my calculations, Mike K could possibly win this race based on the penalty situation that is currently unfolding. MMA Slash, again, he's got 9 seconds of penalties, 3 seconds only for LRB, but 6 seconds for Tim Wentic. So it's going to be close here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be very close. I think at the moment he'd only be up to second now based on the penalties, but it's going to be close. So we're moving on into the final 3 laps of this race, and Mike K is in the best position possible. He's not only going to get points ahead of Dirtamo, but right now, as it stands, he's going to gain a lot of points on Devin, who's had really a nightmare of an Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, sitting now in 8th position. This has not been the strategy he would have liked to have had happen to him, because at the moment, he is going to be now, I believe, in 2nd in the championship, just ahead of Dirtamo. And now Mike K has gone back ahead of Tim Wentic. So this is a nice side-by-side battle that we're going to carry on with actually through most of this session now. Tim Wentic is not letting up the position on track. We know he has the penalty situation to deal with, and he does have a bit older tires than Mike K, but he is not letting the Mercedes driver get ahead of him too far, as we're going to move on now to the penultimate lap of this race as MMA Slash comes around the final corner, and he is going to start lap 27 of 28 of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in Formula 5. Let's ride on board with everybody that's very important here, and one of those drivers is Dirtamo, who meanwhile is also getting very close. Ooh, Tim Wentic goes a little deep into the corner there. He's starting to lose some pace on those tires, and now Jesper might find himself making an overtake on Tim Wentic, who's lost a lot of time to the Mercedes driver, as Tim Wentic is trying to find the right line to go into the corner there, and he finally decides it to be that one. And now look at Dirtamo, a dive on the inside into the hairpin right there, and he makes the move stick. And now he's going to have some DRS to play with, and let's see, can he get ahead of Tim Wentic? Can he make the overtake? It's going to be close. I don't think he's going to have it. He doesn't have a lot of battery to play with, and Tim Wentic at the moment stays ahead. Meanwhile, what's the battery situation on Mike K? It's not great, 16%. Tim Wentic only 10%, though. He doesn't have a much better situation himself. So it is rather equal showings right now for everybody there in those positions to possibly find themselves ahead. But right now, Tim Wentig's going to be dropping down quite a few positions behind everybody. Dertamo might find himself in 5th position. Devin needs to get up a little bit more positions. He wants to be able to also get ahead of Tim Wentig himself. He might be able to do it, but still, this has just not been the Grand Prix that Devin wanted. Now it might not be the Grand Prix Mike K wanted, as the car is really starting to complain, and the final lap has gracefully come for some as MMA Slash crosses the line. Final lap underway. At the moment, he leads this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. LRB would capture it on penalties, though, at the moment. Mike K is in 3rd position. He'd have to gain about a second on LRB in order to possibly get into the position of picking up the victory here, because MMA Slash is going to definitely move off of the podium positions. But it is a 3-second gap he's going to have to make up. Dertamo has gone side by side of Tim Wentig. He may try to make an overtake there, didn't stick. Has to cover up the Ferrari. And now Tim Wentig has gone too wide into the hairpin, but he does get back ahead of Dertamo. DRS and with ERS, Tim Wentig in the same boat, and they're both out of battery. It's now pure pace and pure slipstream. Here comes Dertamo. A move on the inside of Tim Wentig. Contact between the two, and Dertamo gets ahead. Still contact, still side by side. Lots of banging of wheels, and now Jesper might get involved. They're going to go 3 wide down the straight, and this is a big Titanic battle. It looks to be 4th position in this race, and Jesper's made the move. Unbelievable. 4.3 seconds the gap. Still not enough to gain the win here for Mike K, but it is going to be also close. Nonetheless, it looks to be Jesper who's going to keep 4th position in this Grand Prix. Tim Wentig's going to move down a lot. MMA Slash, though, is coming around the final few corners on track. He is going to come around the final corner, and the fireworks are going to fly, and he is going to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but LRB is going to pick it up on penalties. VR Mike K comes around the final turn in 3rd, and he is going to pick up 2nd position in this race and get onto the podium, and Dertamo gets up in the 4th, and Devin up into 5th. The championship stays alive, but LRB is now a 2-time race winner here in F5. What a race in Abu Dhabi. Forget any DRS trains I mentioned. That was a pure slugfest near the end. And MMA Slash picks up driver of the day. You got to give it to him. He still had a fantastic race, and in fact still picks up a podium despite the penalty situation with everybody, in fact. And now MMA Slash will be very happy to pick up that podium. LRB, though, wins the Grand Prix. Devin picks up that 2nd position, and MMA Slash picks up the final podium position. What an exciting Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I cannot believe what we just saw there, ladies and gentlemen. That's magical stuff right there. That really is. Let's go over your leaderboard one more time. LRB wins the Grand Prix. Mike K in 2nd position. MMA Slash in 3rd, with 4th place going to Dertamo. Devin in 5th. The championship now moves to Japan into the final round. Jesper in 6th, 7th for Gilles, 8th for Tim Wentig, 9th for Cortez, and 10th for Plebs. Alpha AZT in 11th, 12th for Lewis, 13th for Quicksilver, 14th for Matt Tebos, Ollie Flavel in 16th, and Mark C in 16th. Your DNFs in this race are, of course, Mark C, Ollie Flavel, Matt Tebos, and Quicksilver. I believe Renault might have picked up a big part in the Constructors Championship, though it's not going to be the end of the Constructors. I don't believe there was a situation where Renault could win it ahead. Let me see if not, yep. So the title fight will continue for the Constructors. Haas against Renault, as Haas did not have a good race with Quicksilver not finishing that race. And in fact, we may see Renault very much in the possibility for leading this one. Well, let's not go to that cursed track that is Circuit de Villeneuve in this race. let's go to the podium interview room and let's interview our top 3 drivers and get their thoughts on the Formula 5 race right there. Let's get into the showroom. And let's bring up that Racing Point and let's get the interviews started with some invites. And we just have MMA Slash now. Well, MMA already has access to this party, but I'll invite him anyway. No, we can't invite him. So MMA Slash just has to get into the party. Hopefully we can get some people in the interview room soon. So we do have LRB in the interview room, the man who won the race. Mike K has joined in. We'll see if MMA Slash gets involved in just a moment's time. But at the moment, let's interview your race winner. LRB, you have won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I'm sure, like many of your fellow racing drivers here in Formula 5, you're just happy the race is over. Let's talk us through that one.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough race. Splitting strategies. Obviously I went with soft medium. A lot went with soft medium I think, and soft medium soft. But yeah, I think soft medium was the right one for me in the end.
Well, short words, but you did win it nonetheless. So congratulations to you, Mike K. You had the dream race. Going into this one, you not only finish on the podium, but crucially, you finish ahead of Devin and Dirtamo. And I believe right now, based on if Matt Tebos is correct, you are now level on points with Devin in the championship going into the final race in Suzuka. Talk us through the race and talk us through your mental state right now as you move on into the final round.
Yeah, thank you. Really happy with that, of course. Bottled my qualifying lap because I think if everything went right, I was P3, P2 maybe. But yeah, that is talking nonsense, and I started P7. That was not what I wanted, but the choice for 2 medium compounds was good at the end because I undercutted everyone in front because I had 2 fresh medium sets, and that gave me the podium at the end.
And I want to ask, as we move into Suzuka, how's your confidence level going into the final round, coming into the Japanese Grand Prix? Do you think that you have the pace advantage to possibly pick up the championship in Suzuka?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. It could be me, it could be Devin, maybe even Dirtamo, but Suzuka not a bad track for me, so that gives me a confident boost. But yeah, for Devin it's the same. I know him a bit, so he enjoys Suzuka, I enjoy Suzuka, so it will be fun, and we will see.
Well, those are great words from the man now who is tied for the championship lead. And let's go over to MMA Slash, who you pick up the podium. I thought maybe you might drop off because you did have quite a lot of penalties under you near the end. But talk us through that race at Yas Marina and all that it took for you to get that podium.
To be honest, I'm actually shocked that I got into this situation. Like in the first lap, I knew that being P10 is like the worst grid like to start on, considering I was starting on softs. Safety car came out, and then my teammate didn't pit, which I found strange. I decided to pit, and then after that, the first stint, nothing really major happened, and then on the second stint, I don't know, when I changed the front wing from 5 to 4, my straight line speed really increased, so it was so much easier to save more EMS than I was before, and then I'm just only ashamed that I got too many penalties. That's one thing I'm just so gutted about.
Well, you did get the victory on track, so pace-wise, you were very rapid, as was said before. But there you go. There's your top three. LRB, you won the race. Mike K in second, and MMA Slash in third. The championship goes down to the wire, an ending nobody expected to see. Now tied on points, Mike K and Devin. Dirtamo only 6 behind as well. It could all go down in Suzuka, and let's see how it goes down. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching live coverage of Formula 5's action from the Yas Marina circuit for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. My name is Iserlix. I was so happy to commentate this race for you. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you never miss out on all of the action. You can hit that notification bell so you can get notified right away when we go live for PSGL action. And make sure to head over to our Discord server. We're getting ready for Season 28, and you can sign up right now. It's going to be a very exciting calendar next season. I am very excited, especially to see Baku back on the calendar. Nonetheless, thank you so much for joining us, and have yourselves a wonderful night.